Good evening, one and all. Could you hear me? And also, I just want to give a brief introduction about the today's panelist. And as we all know that the today's session, it is based on the career in law. Okay. In this connection here, we have the three panelists, and the two are professors from our university, Navratna University. One is Professor Naveen Sinha, and the one more our professor is Ms. Madhura Tombre. And apart from that, we have here an advocate, young and energetic, and also I think recently he has done with his graduation, and now it is really proud to say that he started up his journeys in practicing in the Supreme Court at New Delhi. And Ishan, I think I welcome all the three panelists for the today's session. Okay, welcome all the three of
Thank you.
And I hope today's session is going to be a very, very beneficial for all of you people who have joined today's session. Let us continue with the session one by one, and whatever the queries, whatever you are going to have, you can drop your questions over here. Okay, options are there, and we'll take care of your question and answer session at the end. Okay, and now I welcome all the three panelists. Please start.
Good evening, all the dear students. Today we are going to discuss with you several career opportunities in the field of law. We'll be giving you the brief about each and every opportunity that you have, and at the end we'll be also briefing you about the law graduation courses that you have, the 5 years integrated program and such different options, right? To begin with, I would like to just draw your attention to the current happenings in our country. Our country is witnessing the COVID-19 pandemic, and you have seen that it has taken the toll of almost 2 lakh people in our country, right? 66 lakh people have died in the world, and around 2 lakh people are suffering in our country, right, due to this COVID-19. We have seen that due to the lockdown, many of the migrant workers, they are being displaced, right? Many of them are dying due to hunger in the middle, right? So any sensitive human mind would think that what about the justice to all these people who are suffering, right? The corona patients are being stigmatized, migrant laborers are being forced to leave for their hometowns, many of them have lost their jobs, many children are dying out of hunger. So any sensitive mind would think about the justice for all these people, right? You have also seen that in the middle of all this, there have been attacks on doctors and the police personnel, who are the pillars of our fight against corona, right? So what about the justice for these people who are fighting from the fighting at the front against the coronavirus, right? Again, what about the justice for all these people? We have also seen a day before a controversy which arose in Kerala after the elephant was being killed due to eating of a fruit which is filled up with the explosives, right? So again, a sensitive mind started thinking about justice to all these people, or rather bringing the culprits, bringing the perpetrators of the crime to justice, right? So in the middle of all these things, if you think about all these incidences, you will analyze, or you'll understand one common thing, that there is law which is at the center stage of everything, right? The demand of justice is at the center stage of everything, and you can ensure justice or you can deliver justice only if you have a knowledge of law, राइट? स्कॉलर जेम्स मैडिसन ने एक जगह पे बहुत अच्छे से कहा है कि ज्ञान ही है जो इंसान को आपने अपने हक दिलाता है, right? So if you have not only a knowledge, but if you have a knowledge of law, you will be in a best position to deliver or at least ensure an access to justice to so many people in the society, right? So if any one of you chooses law as a career option, you will be in a win-win position, right? Because law gives you ample amount of career opportunities, which we'll be discussing very soon. And mind you, they are you are going to make a lot of money out of this, definitely. At the same time, your knowledge of law is going to be an instrument of bringing a social change in the society, right? So you can ensure your economic development, social cultural development. At the same time, you can also bring up some amount of social change, some amount of contribution you can give to the society. With this background, I'll take you to the topic of different careers that you can have after pursuing law or after completing your law course. Along with me, I also have two of my colleagues, Advocate Ishan Mishra. He himself is a practicing advocate. So he'll also be discussing along with me all these different career opportunities. And we have Professor Naveen Sinha sir, who will be discussing about some of the career options. At the same time, at the end, he'll give you a brief about the law graduation courses that we have. To begin with, if you could see this image, this is the image of the famous Sabrimala temple of Lord Ayyappan in Kerala. And you might have heard about the controversy of entry of women into this temple, right? Women had to fight a long battle in ensuring an entry into the temple, which was denied to them for centuries together, right? So again, over here, law or justice has played an important role in ensuring rights to the women, right?
Madhura
Uh,
ma'am, Madhura
yes,
ma'am,
sir.
the screen is not visible.
My screen is not visible?
No.
Oh, wait.
No.
I'll share it again. You might have seen this fellow, Vijay Mallya, right? Accused of money laundering. He has run away to UK, and now we are fighting a long battle in the UK's court to bring him back to the country and ensure justice to the people whose money he has been taken, right? So, and right, the horrific incidents that our country has witnessed a few years back, right? The Delhi gang rape and murder case, where the Nirbhaya gang rape case, it was famous with this. And a few months before, in the month of March, we have hanged all these criminals, right? 4 of them were being hanged. And this horrific incidents, which shook the conscience of the entire country, finally, we could say that some amount of justice has been ensured to the rape victim, right? Why am I giving you all these examples? To just draw a common thread that everywhere, if you see any of the area in the society or any news anywhere in the society, you will see that law and justice is at the center stage. Even over here, if you see that here, in case of Nirbhaya or in case of Vijay Mallya or in case of Sabrimala temple, or for that matter, ensuring justice to the people who have died in terror attacks, everywhere lawyers have played the most important role in ensuring justice to the society or justice to the victims, right? So here the lawyers who have argued before the court, lawyers who have argued the cases before the court, have played a phenomenal role in bringing the perpetrators to justice and ensuring a rule of law in the society, right? So once you decide to pursue law as your career choice, the first option that you get and the most challenging option that you get is the practicing before the court. That is called as the field of litigation, right? So I would like to ask Advocate Ishan Mishra to throw some light about this, right? So by litigation, what do I mean? Litigation is actual practice of law before the court, where you actually go before the court and argue the cases, right? So this you can do before the district court, before the high court, or even before the Supreme Court after completing your graduation, right? You only have to give a small bar council's exam, get enrolled with the bar council, and start your practice. I'll invite my colleague Ishan Mishra sir to please discuss litigation as a career option with our fellow students.
Well, I hope I am audible right now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity, because it's always a privilege for a lawyer to talk on legal career. Well, I myself very happy because I have gone through the same life, the same student life. And so litigation is, as said by Madhura ma'am, litigation is a pure practice of law. There will be two lawyers fighting against each other in the court of law, and going to represent their own cases, going to represent their own clients. Well, I believe that litigation, we have been inspired through, Bollywood movies, Hollywood, how they have portrayed litigation. We still remember talak se talak, tarik pe tarik, talak, date pe date. This is all we have remembered. So this is how we got inspired. Me as a kid, I got inspired through Indian movies, and I used to wonder ki a court system is such a this litigation is, I still say that litigation is a very thrilling profession. It is amazing. You have to your every day is going to be very different. Your every case is going to be different. So before one chooses a litigation as a career, he should or she should be aware of what we are going to face in litigation. So that is what that is why I am here to tell you about a bit of litigation. Now, what we have seen in movies and what is actually happening in real life is totally different. In litigation, you will get hardly 3 to 4 minutes to speak about, different about your own case. And there will be 30 to 60 matters listed every day in the court. So you would hardly get 3 to 4 minutes to present your case, to get the order in your favor. So now what a lawyer should do in the litigation process. Now, a lawyer, again, I have to put a light on this, that lawyer and advocate is a different thing. Lawyer is the one who has completed his law degree, and advocate is the one who is enrolled with the Bar Council of India, who has a license to practice in the courts. Now, litigation, when we come back to the litigation is an art which not only needs your theoretical knowledge but also needs your physical appearance, discipline. I would say good communication skills, patience. If you want to make your career into litigation, then you should have a good patience level, because litigation is going to test your patience at every moment, at every situation. And yes, litigation, litigation is done in several cases, like civil cases, criminal cases, arbitration, mediation, conciliation. These are all part of the litigation. Now, corporate sectors, we do have some corporate litigation as well. When I was a student, I still remember Madhunaji, and when I was a student, I was in a dilemma that when I will go for the litigation, I have to choose whether I should go for the criminal or whether I should go for the civil. There are still students in law career. I have seen students in law careers studying at the law school. They are still fighting within themselves to decide whether they should go for the law, criminal law, or civil law. To them, I really want to suggest all these students who are maybe in 12th or who are maybe at the law school. I want you to suggest that you should read both the laws. You cannot be perfect. If you think that you will go with the criminal law and you will forget the civil law, you cannot practice litigation. You can never become an advocate, because the reason is that criminal and civil law is interlinked with each other. There are cases when I am practicing, so I myself get cases where I have to file both the suits. I have to file a civil suit as well, and I have to file a criminal petition as well. Now, you cannot tell the client that no, I am a criminal lawyer. I only know criminal law, so I'm not going to take your civil case. You find a civil lawyer for the same case. I am going to take the criminal thing part of your case. That is not how it works. So I would suggest all the students who are planning to go for the litigation, they should come out of this dilemma, and they should not believe in this myth that if you are good in criminal, then only go for the criminal law. No, you should go for the both. You should read both the procedures. Criminal procedure is there in Criminal Procedure Code, CRPC, and Civil Procedure Code is CPC. So you have to be good in both if you are targeting to be an advocate, practicing lawyer. So all those students, so what really matters in this litigation process is your internship. So when you join a law school, I would suggest you, if you want to go for the litigation, then you should continuously start your internship. You should start interning from the first year of your law school. I did that. Even a lot of lawyers did that. The reason is that you should get comfortable with the court environment. Now, now what happens if you have a less internship experience, then after your graduation, you directly go to the court. You might take a year to get adjusted to the court environment. It is very tough. It is very tough. It is very complex. It is very complicated. Appearing before a judge needs a lot of personality development, lot of good confidence level. If you do not have the confidence level, then you can never have an order in favor of yourself. So you need to have a good confidence level to convince the judge to pass an order in your favor. So litigation, so litigation is basically a courtroom drama where you have to prepare the documents, you have to exhibit the document, you have to present the document to the court, argue in the court. You have a client with whom you are going to represent in the court. So litigation is just a core practice of typical practice of the court. This is the core. Now this had been earlier when earlier people now with the advancement in the technologies, legal profession has completely changed. But when you go back to few years back, you will realize that the legal field was limited to the litigation part, but now it has completely changed. So yes, litigation is a very good career, but litigation, there are three things which you have to remember when you are going for the litigation. Three steps. I would suggest you something which no lawyer would suggest you, that there are three things which is going to happen with you. Is first, that when you go for the litigation, you will not have any work, you will not have money for few months. Then you will be only doing the research work, legal research work, knowing about the laws, knowing about the procedure. Then there will be a time, within few months there will be a time when you will have work, when you will have no money, not substantial amount of money, but then there will be a time within few years of experience, 3 to 4 years of experience, you will have a good amount of work, and extremely, you cannot even think of expend, you cannot think even think, I still have no words how much money you are going to earn in future. Litigation is a good career but needs a lot of patience,
That's true.
lot of research work, lot of reading, and lot of writing, good communication skills. So litigation is a good career. If you go for the litigation, I would suggest you have patience, find a good senior, have a good internship, do a good back-to-back internship. That is how litigation is going to take you far.
Sure. So anyone who has an interest in like debating or even researching, arguing, should definitely pursue litigation as a career option,
Definitely,
right? So,
definitely,
and
this
you
is a
have
bright career
wide
for them.
amount of choices in the field of litigation, as sir was talking to you about civil law and criminal law, right? Criminal law, you might have
Hmm.
commonly heard about the crimes that is happening, and you fight the case on behalf of either the victim or the perpetrator of the crime, right? At the same time, you have a civil law, and within civil law you have so many branches to practice. You can practice in the field of, let's say, family law. You can practice in the field of contracts. Many such options that you have in the field of litigation, right? Another common misconception that people have in their mind is, with litigation you only remain within your small levels of, let's say, a district, but that is actually a misnomer, right? Now, if we see Advocate Ishan Mishra, he is directly practicing in Delhi High Court and even the Supreme Court, right? You just need to be associated with some good senior who will give you an experience, right? And then after a few years, you can have your own firm or you can have your own independent practice, right? But you can definitely directly start practicing at the High Court level or even at the Supreme Court level, right? So to get a good amount of exposure, this is a very good option.
I, I,
And
I
the
want
second
to
thing
add
I would like
something.
to ask, yeah, sure.
I want to add something. When you are going for the litigation, and when you now this is all for this is for all the 12th students who are planning to go for the litigation and law in legal profession. The moment you step into a law college, you are no more a student. That is what I want to suggest. You are no more a student. You are already a lawyer. The reason is that we see a lot of students, and Madhura ma'am will agree with me that we see a lot of students filing PIL these days, and they have suggested a lot of remedies to the Supreme Court about how they about the interpretation of laws. So you have a lot of exposure in litigation. You can act as a lawyer, you can file a lot of PIL, you can write a lot of research paper. Writing a research paper would be a great advantage for you in litigation. So that is what I want to tell you, that litigation is a good career until unless you practice very hard. You remain patient, litigation is going to take you very far.
You need some basic amount of experience. So you have seen this lady. This lady is Advocate Seema Kushwaha, and she has fought the case on behalf of the Delhi gang rape victim, the Nirbhaya, and she has ensured justice to the rape victim. Right? She has played a key role in bringing the perpetrators to justice. On the right hand side, if you could see, this is the photo of a famous public prosecutor, Advocate Ujjwal Nikam. And I would tell you, you might have heard about the name of the terrorist Ajmal Amir Kasab, right? So this man has played a key role in ensuring that the 2611 victims get justice and Kasab is being hanged to death, right? So and there are many such famous lawyers you might hear in the newspapers or even the news channels, right? This field is, mind you, is full of challenges, right? And you can explore n number of possibilities once you opt for this, right? Moving on to the next one, you have the field of corporate sector, right? Corporate sector, of course, being considered to be a field where you can make a lot of money, which is actually true, but then of course that needs a strong foundation of knowledge, right? So what you do when you enter in the corporate sector, basically the knowledge of corporate law will help you to be placed in the companies, right? Basically, what do I mean by corporate law? Students, basically corporate law is the law which deals with the conduct of businesses for companies and different organizations, right? So what you do by joining the corporate field, you become the legal advisors, or you can join the firms, dedicated firms who are practicing in the field of corporate law, right? You have laws for the companies. You have a law for contract, which deals with the contractual matters between the companies. You have laws about the mergers and acquisition. You see different companies mergers, or one company is taking over the other company. You might have come across a term that is competition law, right? Banking law, insurance laws. All these things are nothing but the part and parcel of corporate sector. And by entering into the corporate sector, you get to practice with all these fields, right? So you can either join the company as a legal advisor, you can either join a firm which is practicing in the field of corporate law, and mind you, the salaries of these people who are joining the corporate sector ranges from 6 lakh per annum to 12 lakh or even up to 20 lakhs, right? So in terms of economic also, it is an advantageous field for you, right? Commerce students also have a better opportunity over here, that they can also join, they can also complete the company secretary course, CS course that you commonly call. So CS plus LLB becomes an ideal choice for any company to pick you up, right? Nowadays it's mandatory for every company. So if you have completed CS, so along with your LLB, you are in the best position to be hired by any good company, right? And also nowadays banks have to have a special law officers in their place, right? All these legal advisors or law officers have to advise the banks and their organizations about the legal affairs, legal matters, right? So banks, they need special law officers, and for that every year IBPS conducts the banking exams, and through that they select the special law officers. So do think of all these options. They are really good and they are paid really well after pursuing these options, right? Ishan, sir, would you like to say anything about this?
About corporate sector.
Yes. Or shall
Yes,
we move ahead?
Okay, corporate sector, corporate. If you really want to earn, good money. If you really want to earn money in this law profession, then you should go for the corporate sector. And if you don't want to appear before the court, if you don't want to get into the litigation process, and you do not like this courtroom drama and all, then you should go for the corporate sector, where you have to draft lot of agreements, contracts, you have to do a lot of negotiation. You have to, but still there are some litigation process as well. I must tell you that there are some litigation process as well, where you might have to appear before an arbitrator. Corporate sector, you have to appear before an arbitrator, and but yes, corporate sector is but I believe, and I have seen that that the females have started taking corporate sectors more serious, that they have started participating in corporate sector. The reason is that the earlier, if we go back to 1980s and 1970s, now 1990s as well, so less females were there in the litigation process. I remember Rebecca John, Mrs. Rebecca John, who fought who fought Rajesh Talwar case, was the only criminal lawyer at that time in 1990s. So this is how now it has changed. Time has changed, but there are a lot of females coming in this in this corporate sector, and I believe corporate sector is a very good. Matlab, corporate sector is a developing more. It is getting developed day by day. A lot of cases are coming up. So corporate sector is a good. It will be beneficiary to those who don't want to go for the litigation, who are more into this technical term, who are good. And I must tell you, corporate sector needs a lot of good writing skills, good drafting skills. If you are good in drafting skills, then go for the corporate sector. If you are not good in drafting skills, then you should start preparing yourself in drafting. Until unless you do not know how to draft good, then you can never be a good corporate lawyer. There are a lot of good corporate opportunities. There are a lot of law firms which are giving opportunities to lawyers. That there is Ludra and Ludra, Sam, Shardul Amarchand Mangal Das. There are a lot of I remember Trilegal. Trilegal is another a good law firm. So you can so before you go for the corporate, I still repeat it again. Before you go for the corporate sector, you should intern there. First, you should have an internship there, so that you can have an idea what you are going to deal in future. So internship would always lead you to a good career. So do an internship, have an internship there, have a work environment, then decide. Yes, corporate law is a good sector. You will have a good financial assistance.
And along with this, students, if any one of you is willing to go to foreign countries, this corporate sector also offers you a lot of opportunities in the paralegal services. Right? You can be an assistant to any of the law firms which are working. You cannot directly become the attorneys, of course, but then even the paralegal services and people in the paralegal services earn a lot, especially in the countries like Canada, Australia, any of the European countries, right? So if any one of you have that thing in their mind after a few years, they can also think of joining the paralegal services, right? So after completing the law course, you also get the option of paralegal services, right? Moving ahead, now litigation, corporate sector have become, a sort of conventional things. We would like to throw some light in brief about some of the emerging fields in the law, right? As you know, law is something which is always deriving an advantage with the technological development. Other sectors have been suffering due to technological development, but law is something which is actually deriving benefits when the technology is developing, right? So in the same way, we have seen a lot of new fields emerging in the legal sector, and some of them which we would like to discuss it with you in brief, right? So one of the emerging field is the field of intellectual property rights. Dear students, if any one of you, for example, is a poet, and if you write a poem on any of the topic, right? Of course, you feel that the idea is yours and the creativity is of course yours. You have invested a lot of intellectual efforts in creating that entire set of art, right? So what you want is, of course, you want the sole right over your creation. You don't want anybody to steal your property. That becomes an intellectual property of yours, a property which is created with the help of your own intellect. If any scientist comes up with an invention, of course, he or she wants a sole right and a complete right over that invention, right? Because nobody should actually steal that, because he has invested his money, he has invested his mind and a lot of time into the research, right? So all these things are being taken care of in the field of intellectual property rights, right? On your creation, what you get is the copyright, right? So if you watch pirated movies, actually you're violating the copyright of the movie makers, right? If you're making any of the invention and you want a sole right over the same, you have a patent for that, right? Students, you might have seen common logos of the companies, right? If you see the triangle, you see that is the logo of Mercedes-Benz, right? So such things are associated with the trademark, right? A brand name is associated with the logo. So as soon as you see a logo, you get to know the authenticity of the product or the process, right? So it is associated with the trademark thing. All these things are taken care of in the field of intellectual property rights. And nowadays, this field of IPR has a very glorious career in future, right? If any one of you are willing to pursue a specialization in the field of IPR, yes, you can join any of the firm which is practicing in the area of IPR. You can join not only as a lawyer, you can also join as a researcher, you can join even as a strategist, analyst in the field of IPR, right? patent agents or assistants to the law firms is also very a good choice if you have an interest in the IPR field, right? Another important field which is quite related to this is the field of media law, right? Advocate Ishan, would you like to talk about media law?
Okay. So now, okay. So before I talk about media law, I just want to share my experience, which was very surprising for me. A lot of law institutes, I know a lot of law, and even you should agree to this. A lot of law institutes have put media law as an optional subject, and I get very surprised to see this, because this is a great this career is providing a large number of opportunities to the law students. Well, media law when we talk about the media law, we talk about the journalism, we talk about the theaters, we talk about the movies, we talk about the censorship, we talk about uh, film, television, we talk about music, we talk about advertising, theater, marketing. So media law covers all of these, these things. So what? So about I just want to know. I just want to tell you that when you have decided to go for the media law, when you decide media law is basically going to, you should be very good with IPR, trademark, patents, design laws. To go into the media law, you should be aware of all the IPR laws, copyright, trademark, design, patent laws. Then then you should be good with some criminal law aspects. Sedition and defamation, you are going to deal with that daily. Sedition and defamation are such cases which are filed every day against media. So what happens? Media have their own panel, legal panel. Now what they make, they have their own panel to decide what they are going to publish, what they should not publish. They have a lot of content writing as well. There are legal opportunities for the content writing in the media as well, where the lawyers, have so this the reason is why lawyers, the opportunity of lawyers is rising in media career, is that lawyers are good with legal writing, knows the legal concept very well. They are aware of the current affairs. They have good communication skills. That I keep saying again, that a lawyer should have a good communication skills. That comes into the picture right now. That media law is encouraging, lot of lawyers to come and work with them. So acha, to get into the media law, there are a lot of law firms which are practicing in the media law. They are you should give, there are a lot of law firms. I know a lot of law firms in Delhi. So what you should do as a student, that is what I want to tell you. What you should do as a student, you should write journals, you should write legal research paper, you should talk about the media on social platform. That too, that you should not defame anyone, you should not end up defaming anyone, because that would be a criminal conduct. But you should write good social research work, you should be socially involved to get into the media. You should have good networking as well, because you are going to deal with contract laws. Ultimately, you are going to deal with contract laws, negotiation laws, arbitration, lot of well, this is kind of a sector, which comes into the corporate law only. But this is again a good career if those who want to go for the legal journalism, those who want to go for the media law. Now you won't believe. Now we are also seeing that live law and bar and bench these days are getting giving a lot of good opportunities to the legal aspirants who have, to the student as well, during their legal during their law during their law career. They are also taking law students as well, who are writing in daily news, daily judgments, daily reports of the daily order. So yes, media is a good career for those who want to go into the journalism, who are very fascinated with movies, theaters, design, and all. Large, good paying skill as well. There's a large paying skill. You might, in the starting, you might get 25 to 30,000 per month, 3 lakh, 4 lakh packages. That is quite common to find. But you may end up getting a 12 lakh, 16 lakh packages, and it's just fine. It's okay.
That's right. So basically, students, you can join the media houses, you can join advertising agencies, and with the emergence of social media now, you have ample of opportunities in the field of media law, right? one of the emerging field. Another emerging field is the field of health law, right? You might have heard about the common cases of, let's say, medical negligence, or recently you might have heard due to this COVID-19 pandemic that there is a stigmatization of the corona patients, or even doctors are being attacked by many of the communities, right? All these things are being taken care of in the field of health law, right? You might be hearing the common issues about the health field, right? The adulterated medicines are being served, or patients have received a wrongful treatment, or sometimes doctors are being accused of negligence. So many things are involved, and all these controversies could be better addressed if you decide to study the field of health law. And with the growth of technology, the challenges have increased, and therefore the career prospects for health law are always going to be on rise, right? Another good field which is in demand right now is the field of sports law, right? Students, you might recall a few months before, or maybe in the last year, there was a controversy involving Hardik Pandya and KL Rahul, right? They spoke up on the Coffee with Karan show, and after that, BCCI had to downgrade them in their contract because they made some derogatory remarks. So now coming back to the sports players, the contracts of these players, the management, their advertising, all these things are being taken care of in the field of sports law, right? Ishan sir, would you like to discuss
Okay.
sports law in brief? Yes.
So it is so it is not necessary. So for law, so see, sports law is one of the most emerging career. Sports law in wider terms, it is like it is a law dealing with sports. Now now sports have their own rules and regulation. Now it is very hard for a sportsman or well, any ordinary man to know the legal terms in the contract. So what happens? So what happens when any sport person makes a contract and that contract is violated, is infringed by the other party, then that is the time when lawyer comes into the picture. He might call his lawyer that this is the contract which we enforce and they are violating this contract. So now the sports lawyer will be the only person who is taking this case upstairs for the justice. Now let me give you an example. Just imagine me as a cricketer. I got injured. So let's give an example like this. Me as a cricketer, and I made a contract with Gujarat Lions to play the whole season of 10 matches. Now after playing 2 matches, I got injured, and that is I got injured due to the fault of the venue, and I had a contract of 12 matches, 10 matches. Now, what Gujarat Lions is, Gujarat Lions replaced me with the other player and refused me to pay any compensation, any fees, and anything. So, what would I do? Me as a sports person, me as a cricketer, why would I waste my energy to understand legal terms? Why would I keep Googling about legal terms, which I know I could not be able to understand, which I could not be able to, you know, tackle with? So, what will I do in that case? I will call my lawyer. I will ask my lawyer that this was my contract. These are all the rules. Now BCCI, now me as a kid, then BCCI rules will come into the picture. That what type of contract this is. Does BCCI gives the permission to make this contract with cricketers? This will come into the picture. Now the lawyer would come into this case and will ensure that the contract should be enforced. If the contract says that I would be given the compensation, I would be given the fees of 2 matches I played. And with the compensation, that just because I got injured due to the fault of the sports venue, then sports venue can also be the party against whom I can go in the sports law. So sports law is again a good career because a lawyer may be called as an agent, as a mentor to the sports person, or maybe a margdarshak. In the terms of margdarshak. So one does not need to be good in playing sports to qualify as a sports lawyer. To become a sports lawyer, you should have a keen interest in administration and management of sports activity. So I was just so now student must be having this question in mind that how should they start their career in sports law, because this is a very interesting career because you will be seeing a lot of known faces, a lot of celebrity players in yours. So how they should start? I have a friend who is practicing sports law. So how he started, I'll just give you a guidance because he shared this with me, and I would love to share the knowledge with you. So he did an internship with a sports lawyer for like 3 years, continuous internship. After getting graduated, he worked with them like for like 2 years, and then what he did, he targeted small league players, newbies, new players. Now every sport is giving thousand of opportunities, every player to every thousand opportunities to new players, newbies in these sports. So what he did, he targeted newbies, new players who do not have any knowledge. Now understand one thing: 40 to 50, 40, 30 to 40% of the sports people are from the lower background. They do not have good education. They are more busy. They have almost invested their life in practicing, in playing. So they do not have a good education level as well. So target such people. If you want to practice in law, target new people, new players, and this is how you are going to get experience. And with experience and time, and with time and with experience, you might have Virat Kohli knocking your door for the legal assistance. So yes, sports law is a good career. You are going to draft a lot of negotiation. You are going to deal with media law as well. You are going to deal with advertising, endorsement, a lot of endorsement, because a lot of private money is invested in these days, and you are going to deal with them. You should be very aware of few criminal acts as well. Narcotics, drug acts, these are all the acts that you should be aware of, because we have recently seen many cases in our past life and in our past years. So we should be very aware of everything, every law, basics of law should be kept in mind, and you are going to do good in this career. Sports law is a good career, very high, and it is a highly paid career. I must say, if you have a good experience, if you have experience for like 5 to 6 years or 10 years, this is going to be a highly paid career. Because as we all know, if Virat Kohli is going to earn 15 crore per year, then you are going to earn 3-4 crore. That is how it works. Because he needs a legal assistance. That is how it goes.
The students from Vadodara, we have famous lawyers in Vadodara who are handling the contracts of Pandya brothers, who are handling the contracts of Irfan Pathan and Yusuf Pathan, right? When they are Yusuf Pathan, who is being hired by Mumbai Indians, there are lawyers who are handling all these matters. And with a lot of private entities playing in the cricket, football, basketball, and so many other things, you have franchisees investing, you always have ample of opportunities in the field of sports law. Another emerging field where we would like to take you is the field of environmental law, right? Traditionally being ignored, but now this field is gaining a lot of importance at the national as well as at the international level, right? Pollution, which is taking a lot of human lives. You have seen the pollution causing drastic impact in Delhi, right? Air pollution, water pollution, you have noise pollution, right? And you have basically regulations in place for all these things, right? And now there are many companies who are violating these regulations. Basically, environmental law comes into picture in dealing with such violations, right? You also have a lot of wildlife in your country. You also have a lot of ecological important places, sensitive places in your country, wherein you have to ensure that they are protected, right? At the beginning, when we have discussed about the incidents in Kerala, a tragic incident where the elephant had died because the villagers have fed them a pineapple which was laced with explosives, right? And of course, there was a lot of UN cry for ensuring justice to the animals, right? So again, a Wildlife Protection Act comes into picture. All these things, if you have a keen interest in the environment or environmental sciences to some extent, you can explore a very good career in the field of environmental law. And mind you, this will not only limit you to the national boundaries, you can explore wide amount of opportunities even in the international field, right? You can join even the litigation firms in the environmental law field. You have nowadays a National Green Tribunal which sets up for the environmental law cases, right? You also can join various research institutes who are researching in the field of environmental law, right? Strategic planning, analysis is also one of the very challenging area and one of the very interesting area as well, right? Yes, the most common area that has ever been discussed, that has always been discussed, is the field of cyber law, right? Digitization has touched every sphere of our life, right? Now, even see, we are meeting to the digital mode, right? So you also have seen there is huge increase in the number of cyber crimes happening, right? I have seen a lot of students coming to me and asking me that, ma'am, today on my Instagram post, someone wrote a derogatory comment, ma'am, someone someone created a fake account on my name on Facebook, right? I am receiving a lot of phishing mails on my email ID, right? Banking frauds are commonly being committed if the people are nowadays using net banking, and especially if they're not aware about these cyber criminals on the internet, you come across all these things, right? So a field of cyber law is always going to be important in the upcoming age, right? Because the age is of technology, and with the growth of technology, there is also an ever increasing scope for the criminal minds, right? So hacking, or which I have discussed, the derogatory remarks on the internet, creating fake profiles, and so many things are being taken care of in the field of cyber law. Now, not only cyber law, you also have a bright career if you pursue the option of cyber forensic. Forensic science is not only limited to a traditional criminal law, but also there is a specialization in the cyber forensics field, right? So a student who has, let's say, science background can, or even any other student for that matter, can definitely pursue cyber law as a special career choice. I have many of my friends who have chosen this path after their graduation, and now they have their own consultancies in the field of cyber law, and they are paid in lakhs because nowadays everybody, from a common man to the top corporates, needs an advice in the field of cyber law, because everybody is under the threat, because all of us are basically using the internet, right? So cyber law is one such, right? International law, right? And there are many types in the international law. You have international trade law, you have air and space law, you have maritime laws. Basically, international law is law which is dealing with multiple countries in the world, right? India dealing with Pakistan, India dealing with USA, right? And there are different matters involved, right? We are making a contract with, let's say, Russia for buying of some arms, right? Our planes are, landing from Delhi, moving to Moscow, right? So we are using the space, we are using the air, we are using the aviation, right? Our ships are taking the material from India to, let's say, Saudi Arabia, right? So we are using the sea route, right? Air, space law, trade laws, maritime laws, which are the part of international law, are always important. And nowadays, with the growth of globalization, they're assuming the importance again. Again, the advantage of international law is you can pursue the opportunities not only in the national boundaries, you can pursue a wide opportunities in different international institutions. For example, you have World Trade Organization, you have WIPO, different research institutes which offer bright career opportunities in the field of international law, right? Energy law, I would like to ask Ishan sir to discuss this field, energy law, with you all.
Okay, so energy law is little new to all of us. This is something which students are not usually aware of. Most of us do not have much idea what one can do if they get specialized in energy law. Well, energy law, without saying, energy sector holds the key to human civilization. Growth is only possible if we harness the great amount of energy. So this is the reason why the energy law is getting, giving a lot of opportunities to lawyers. Now if you have to save the energy, then you have to have the rules and regulations. Now if there is law, then there would be the existence of lawyer as well. So energy law is kind of a specialized knowledge. I must say this, that energy law is a kind of a specialized knowledge. This might be advantageous to the science law student, science background student who are coming to this law profession. This might be very advantageous to them, because this is going to deal with, and to commerce student as well, because this is going to deal with pricing, distribution, contractual dispute, efficient distribution, litigation. Yes, litigation is a part of the energy laws. Well, how will energy law? Well, there is this. Now let's give an example of energy law. Electricity law. I'm just giving an example. Electricity law has totally changed the legal profession. Since the time it has come into the picture, people are getting aware of electricity law, and this is the highest. I would say this is the highly paid service. If you are going for the energy law, then you are going to get good amount of money during your initial years, because this is very complicated process. It needs a specialized knowledge, and of course I was never taught electricity law in my student life. So this subject is not commonly taught in the school, in the college life. So what you can do is you can have again do an internship, because there are a lot of law firms. Bigger top earlier, what used to happen, only two, three I remember. I remember tri-legal. Tri-legal, one third of tri-legal was I guess practicing energy law, because they had a panel of energy law and they had a group, so they were practicing energy law. Then this have woken up a lot of law firms, big law firms now. Now a lot of every top law firms have their own partners practicing in electricity litigation practice. So senior advocates like Shardul Amarchand Mangal Das from top law firms are dealing with Ludra, and Ludra are dealing with electricity laws. So again, you have to have the good internship, because this is something which they would never would hardly be taught in legal in law schools. You can only get the experience and specialized knowledge while doing internship. So what you have to now what you have to do in the energy law is that you may have to advise clients like National Thermal Power Corporation, Power Grid Corporation of India, Tata Power, Reliance Project, etc. So you have to advise them on financial as well energy regulatory litigation projects. So this is a great career, highly paid career, I must say, but needs lot of skills. You should be very good with drafting. You should be very good in communication skills. You need to have a little bit of, corporate sector knowledge. You should have the litigation knowledge as well, the procedure, and it is a good career. You have to, because we as now I will now we used to, now this has completely changed, but earlier, if we go back to 7 years back, used to face a lot of electricity cuts, power cuts, unnecessary charges, and so these are all the kind of dispute that electricity lawyers deal with. So again, you should be aware of electricity laws, energy laws. One of the kind of energy law is nuclear law. I see Mr. Raju Ram Jamwal, the advocate, senior advocate Raju Ram Jamwal is dealing with nuclear laws right now. So nuclear law is totally different with other energy laws. Is that why? Because it deals with the nuclear waste, how you should manage the nuclear waste, how you should regulate the nuclear waste. So that is how energy laws deals with. But yes, again, a specialized career, good opportunity, but you need to have good skills to get into this career.
Very true. And with all these emerging fields, we would also like to tell you about some of the government services, the option that you have after completing law, right? At the beginning, when I was talking about justice, by becoming a lawyer, you can ensure that maximum people get an access to justice, right? But to deliver justice, you of course need a wise person to be sitting as a judge, right? So after completing law, you get a direct opportunity to become a judge and deliver justice. You can join the judicial services, right? Many of the states are conducting their own judicial services exams. You can opt for the state of your choice, right? Of course, there are some basic conditions of living in that state for some years, and you can give the judicial services exams and you can enter into the primary judicial services. With your experience, with your performance, you can of course scale up high, you can get promotion, and you can consequently step into the High Court or even go on to become the Supreme Court judges, right? Judicial services is a very bright career option. Government service naturally has a lot of advantages. So judicial services is always a good choice, right? Defense services, people hardly know about it. You can join the defense services after giving staff selection boards exam, and you can become the Judge Advocate General. Ishan sir, can you in brief talk about the Judge Advocate General?
Okay, so general. So this, if those people who could not join army, those people who want to join army after law, they can get into this profession. Judge Advocate General is an exam. So is an exam which, Judge Advocate General is a person who deals with military laws. You are going to deal with military laws. You are going to deal with court martials. You are going to represent their cases. You are going to deal with a lot of arms and ammunition cases, that how arms should be used, ammunition should be used. So these are all the limitations that you are going to, see, limitation acts that you are going to see. So in the JAG, you should have, now the criteria, the criteria is quite complicated. I must say the criteria is quite complicated. You should have 55% of minimum percentage 55% of minimum percentage, either in 3 years LLB program or 5 years LLB program. You should be going through few psychological aptitude tests. You should be going through a psychological aptitude test that is going to cover all your cover journal awareness, military laws awareness, and English, and your legal ability. Then there are three. Then you might be now you should not think like that you will be refused for the physical and medical test. No, physical test would be there as well. There would be a medical test, because this is going to be a rank like lieutenant, equal to the lieutenant. This is a highly paid rank, and yes, a very noble, it is, of course, this you are going to serve your nation, you are going to present your case, and
Right. So defense services is a very good choice, right? You can of course have another option of joining the civil services, right? The UPSC exams and many of the state have their public service commissions exam. By giving them, you can directly become the administrators. You can join the IAS, IPS, IFS, different services, right? UPSC, within the UPSC services, you also have a corporate law service nowadays, right? So you can have a very bright career if you choose civil services as your career, right? You can even choose to join the academics, right? After completing your graduation course, you can pursue LLM in the area of your interest. You can choose any specialization that you want, right? You can give a UGC NET or SET exams and directly enter into the academics. You can join renowned universities world over as an academician, right? People nowadays also have many of the business law specializations. They pursue that, and with this, they have an academic career open. At the same time, they have opportunities in the corporate field also. So the government services offer you a very bright prospects along with the security and the financial stability, right? So many people pursue this, and if you might not have heard about the defense services or even the other services. All right, so we would like to go to Professor Naveen Sinha sir, who will in brief talk to you about the integrated law courses, the different options that you have, and what Navrashna University offers within the law program. Naveen sir, over.
Okay, I'm going to give a small insight on the BBA LLB course that is currently given by Navrashna University. So let me start with what is BBA LLB. Now, BBA LLB is a relatively new concept. It has a multidisciplinary stage to it. This course basically is a synthesis between law and BBA courses. And as it has been pointed out in the slide, it is best suited for the changing world. And I suppose you can understand that after the pandemic, post-pandemic, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, a lot of avenues opening in the field of corporate law. For that, BBA LLB is going to be really helpful. Basically, this is a 5 years integrated graduation course. When I say 5 years integrated graduation course, it basically means that the BBA and the LLB programs are, integrated. They are not two separate courses. So you'll have to undertake a 5 years course to get both the BBA and LLB degree. And this program is unique in the sense that it is conducted in a close interrelationship between law and management. So apart from legal subjects like contract or constitution, the usual legal subjects, you'll also get an opportunity to study subjects related to BBA. For example, you'll be studying business organization, you'll be studying cyber management, and you'll also be studying subjects related to taxation management, etc. Now, what I've noticed is students generally have a bit of confusion regarding BBA LLB and BA LLB. So as far as both these courses are concerned, you have to understand that BBA LLB and BA LLB are both 5 years integrated course. However, there are some differences between them. One of the basic differences is that in BBA LLB, you'll be studying management-related courses. In contrast, the BA LLB students would be studying subjects related to arts. So, some of the primary subjects in BA LLB would be history, political science, economics, sociology, etc. Whereas in BBA LLB, students would be studying subjects related to business management, organizational behavior, economics, human resource management, etc. Now, in terms of career opportunities, both these courses have their own separate orientation. Example, BBA LLB is most suited to corporate practice, whereas BA LLB is more suited to litigation. Now, let us not make, understand this to mean that BBA LLB can only lead you to one particular course and BA LLB can lead you to another particular course. But in terms of preference, I think BBA LLB, when you look at it overall, it is more suited to a career in the field of corporate law, whereas BA LLB, it takes you into the field of litigation. But both the courses would be handy when you think of pursuing career opportunities in the field of judicial services. At that time, either irrespective of whether you are BBA LLB or BA LLB, you would be entitled to pursue your career in the field of judicial services and other areas also. But apart from that, if you look at BBA LLB, it is more suited to, as Ishan pointed out, it is more suited to, a career in the field of media law. So, for example, we are talking about energy law, space law, air law. So, BBA LLB would be more suitable to that. So, otherwise than that, both of them are 5 years integrated course, and Navrachna University currently is providing a 5-year integrated BBA LLB program. Can you move on to the next slide, ma'am?
Right.
So, Navrachna University provides, as I just told you, provides BBA LLB course. It's a part of the School of Business and Law. The School of Business and Law currently has different other programs. For example, it has BBA, MBA, and we also used to have Commerce, but it is no longer there. And now we have BBA LLB also. Now, BBA LLB is a comparatively new course at Navrachna University. It was started in the year 2014. Some of the important characteristics of the BBA LLB course at Navrachna University is that it has been approved by the Bar Council of India. It has a distinct curriculum in the sense that it covers all relevant areas relating to both BBA and law. It has, apart from that, we also take pride in organizing regular guest lectures. For example, Ishan is one of our guests today, and I'm really very thankful to Ishan for attending this seminar. But other than that, also we have a close association with the Baroda Legal Services Authority, and we regularly invite lawyers and judges from there to come and give guest lectures over here. Other than that, we have a very good networking with different companies and NGOs, so that it is beneficial for us in our internship process. As Ihsan pointed out, internship is a very important part of legal education, and it actually helps you in becoming the complete lawyer that you want to become. So we have a very close association with different NGOs, corporate sectors. We have close association with different legal firms also, and we regularly send our students to intern in these firms. We have also a very well qualified staff. Of course, we have, and not only they are well qualified, but they are also very helpful with the students. So when the opportunity actually comes, you can actually have a one-on-one engagement with the faculty in discussing your problems and all those things. Recently, the School of Business and Law, the law program at Navrachna University, it signed a MOU with Gujarat National Law University, and this has actually proved to be very advantageous for us in the sense that now we can engage with GNLU in terms of students exchange program, and we will also have faculty coming from GNLU to introduce our students to different aspects of moot court or different aspects of a legal career and all those things. So this has been one of the most important achievements of Navrachna University, the BBA LLB program, Navrachna University. Other than that, the School of Business and Law also has some different committees, and these different committees cater to the different aspiration and needs of the students. One committee which we have is the Moot Court Committee and the Debate Committee. This committee basically looks after the moot court activities and the debate activities of the university. Basically, it engages the students in moot court activities, and also it gives them insight on how to conduct moot courts. If you're not aware of what moot court is, moot court basically is a mock court practice in which the students are introduced to the nuances of legal practice. So basically, they are given a fact, and they are asked to argue the facts in the light of different laws and decisions. So this gives them a basic insight, a fundamental understanding of legal practices. Of course, this is also one preliminary way to introduce students to the field of litigation. Interestingly, this year only, our students, they participated in the National Moot Court competition organized by MSCO, and they emerged as the winner. But other than that, also they won the client counseling session, and they also won the drafting and pleading competition at MSU. So this has been our achievement so far. Other than that, we have a legal aid committee. Now, as Ishan was pointing out, it's really very important that students should have some practical knowledge of litigation. So what legal aid committee basically does is it introduces students, it basically takes them to the field. It helps them to engage with people who have legal difficulties, and the students generally engage with the people who comes to them with legal problems and gives them advice on different matters. Other than that, legal aid committee also organizes debates, seminars, and different other activities in order to sensitize people about law and also to find solutions to their legal problems. Other than that, we also have this legal aid cell. The legal aid cell regularly organizes this legal aid meetings so that people can come to the university, have a meeting with the students and the people concerned, and actually find legal solutions to the problems. So for this, we are working at in close association with the Baroda Bar Council, with the Baroda Court also, and we have some advocates in our panel who helps the students regularly, and not only the students but the people regularly in the conduct of all these activities. Can you go on the side? Of course, other than that, we have a very strong internship program, which of course has not been mentioned here. But as far as Navrashna is concerned, we have basically five internship programs for all the 5 years. So we start internship from the very first year itself. So the first internship is known as the social immersion program. What it basically does, it engages the students with a different NGOs and social workers group. So what happens in that is the internship is for a period of 4 weeks. It's a 2-credit course. Students generally engage with these NGOs and different other, social organizations, and they work with them in their CSR activities and other different areas. So this gives them the learning experience of how these NGOs and these CSR basically works. So what our law students basically does is they actually engage or they associate themselves with the law office of the NGO or the companies, and they get a basic legal understanding through these internships. Other than that, we also have a corporate internship. In corporate internship, we send students to different corporate organizations. We have actually a close association with different corporate leaders in Baroda. We send our students to intern with them. Our students go there. Once again, it's a 4-week course. 2-credit 4-week course, and the students go there. They learn different aspects about the functioning of the industries. And our law students, they go and work there in the legal field. Most of them, they try to go and work there in the legal field. And in the internship process, they come across, they get to know about the drafting process, which, as Ishan pointed out, is one of the most important aspects of being a lawyer. So we generally introduce our students, expose our students to these different nuances, different aspects of law. Apart from that, we have a legal internship with the district court. That happens in the 3rd year. In the 4th year, we have what is known as legal internship at the High Court. And in the 5th year, we have planning to introduce students to legal internship at the Supreme Court. So in all these cases, what happens, we introduce the students to different lawyers, and they work in close association with the lawyers. They try to understand how the lawyers do their job, and in the process, they also get to know about the litigation process. As Ishan pointed out, litigation is actually one of the most important aspects of legal practicing, and internship actually helps you in building that intellect, that skills in becoming a good lawyer. So as far as admission at Navrashna University is concerned, what we do is we generally conduct a small admission test. Of those of you who have appeared for the CLAT or the examinations, you are exempted from appearing for the examination. The examination would be for 50 marks. It's a 2-hour examination, 1-hour examination, sorry. And the students would, the questions would be of, generally be, of MCQ in nature, and they would generally be aptitude test. After the test is over, you will be taken there will be a small interview. You'd be, there would be a personality development test or something like that. And once you qualify the test, you would be eligible to participate, to be a student of Navrashna University. So if you want to reach us, you can follow the links that have been given here in the slide. If you have any question, you may please forward your question to us. And thank you very much. And thank you, Ishan, and thank you, Madhura ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction about the BBLLB program. Ishan, sir, I have received a few questions. One student is asking, don't you think technology has played, or technology is rather a hindrance in the development of law, or do you think it's vice versa?
It is. I believe that technology. They are not. I believe that this is the only profession on which technology had a great impact. I mean, earlier when we go back to 1990s, 1980s, so there was no internet, nothing. So when we go back to 1980s, 1990s, what the legal law, what lawyers used to do is they used to read a lot of books for the judgment. That was more time consuming. If you need to find a judgment for your case, then you have to read more than 5 to 10 books, and you have to find that case, single case. Now it has completely changed. Now as the technology is advancing, now you can simply type your case and you will get it on your internet. That is the another, that has another change the practice, legal practice now. Plus as technology is advancing day by day, and with the advancement in the technology, you should understand this, that the legal career would give a lot of opportunities. And this is what we are seeing now. I was recently studying about telemedicine. Telemedicine is now a new structure of of counseling, giving medical counseling. So this is a new structure. Now they are asking for lawyers as well, because telemedicine will end up needing a lawyers who must be good with cyber law, who must be good with technologies, who must know how to with how to. Now they are right now busy with forming guidelines and rules and regulations. So they are asking for lawyers. So they see I just want to tell you one thing. I just want to know, students, one thing, that law is a web, and law is covering every single career. Doctor, yes, doctors need lawyers. Medicines needs lawyers. If you go to banking, then yes, we have banking, IBPS, banking service, and yes, we have lawyers there as well. So technology had a great impact, and technology is having a great impact on the law profession now. So yes, as the technology is going to get more advanced, more opportunities are going to come into the law career. As stated by Madhura ma'am, that cyber law, why cyber law was incorporated? If there would have been no technology, then no opportunity would have been coming in cyber law. Now, I believe, if I believe everyone is using 15 hours of internet daily. So imagine. So of course, if the technology is going to be advanced, a lot of cases are going to come, a lot of disputes are going to be raised, a lot of legal assistance would be asked. So this is how technology is going to have a great impact on legal, and it is always going to ask for the manpower.
As he said about telemedicine, now what we are doing is tele-education, isn't it?
Tele-education.
Everywhere, see, technology and law is touching every aspect of our life. Right?
I just want to again put up. I just want to put a point that these days we physical courts are not in existence.
True.
We are not allowed to appear physically. But how technology has has taken a bright side. Now we are appearing through video conferencing.
True.
This is how we are still maintaining the legal system in process. If there could have been no technology, then we could have been sitting at home and waiting for the COVID-19 to end.
Very true. Very true.
See, technology has a great impact and is still having a great impact. Yes, technology is going to always benefit law. There's nothing to worry. It is never going to reduce the manpower like it has reduced in engineering and all the other careers. But it is always going to raise the manpower in the legal career.
In fact, it is going to give opportunities in several new fields, right?
Exactly.
So, we hope we have answered your question. Another question is, if a person wishes to pursue health law as a career, is it necessary for them to be educated in medicine and pharmacy? No, you don't have to be educated in medicine or pharmacy at all. For the field of health law, you just need a very, very basic knowledge of some of the basic issues, right? You will be basically dealing with the legal issues involved in the field of health, right? For example, I have discussed with you about the medical negligence, right? So basically, you will be talking about whether there was negligence involved or not, right? You might have heard about the surrogacy cases, right? So you will be dealing with the surrogacy contracts, the complications that can arise, the rights of the surrogate mother or the child or the parents, and all such legal aspects involved in the area, right? You won't be dealing with the pharmaceutical matters or medicinal or basically the scientific things involved into the same, right? Any of this area of law which we have discussed, just needs a basic outline or the basic knowledge of the relevant area. That's it. You don't have to be specialized in any of them, right? So even a commerce person or an arts person who doesn't know anything about science can definitely become a very good health lawyer, right? So there is no bar for any such thing. One beautiful question that we have is, any one of you two, Naveen sir or Ishan sir, can answer. Can we take law and enter into politics?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes. Any
This
one
is
of you, yes.
I would love to have this. I would still believe, now this is, I should not make such comments, but still, I would love to have politicians who have a law background, because we have a lot of, renowned politicians who had a law background.
True.
So yes, law background would always be beneficial to those who are willing to go into the politics.
Very true.
At least we would expect something good from you in future.
Very true. Another question is, if someone is willing to pursue cyber law as a career choice, what he or she should do after completing the graduation?
Okay. You should, see, cyber law is kind of attached to criminal law. Now, cyber law, because if we read IT 2000, IT Act 2000, so it is kindly attached to criminal law as well. It needs corporate practice as well. So, firstly, I would suggest you that you should work on your basics. You should read civil law procedure code as well, Indian Evidence Act and IPC and criminal procedure. So what are you going to do after the law after your graduation is that you should have a continuous internship. Like, I mean, during your student life, you should have a continuous internship, and after graduation, you should work with a senior lawyer who is dealing with cyber laws to have the experience to make a see. It is very easy to decide that we are going to for this for career, that career, but we should have the clientage. We should have the experience to deal with clients. Now, the difficult thing now, what I have faced and what the first generation lawyers face is that they fear of client counseling. Now, if any client comes to me, he would be in hurry to have the remedy. So providing that remedy comes with the experience. So I would suggest you to work with, a senior advocate or any advocate. At firstly, you go with the district level, then High Court, then Supreme Court. First, you work 3-4 years, and then you will have the experience. And I am sure then you will like this career. This is a good career. Cyber law is a very enhancing career.
I have another question. What if I wish to pursue my career in the field of media law? Do I need to do anything special for this? By the way, one thing, for cyber law, nowadays, many of the universities are offering diplomas and even PG diplomas in the same, right? They can even be pursued through a distance learning mode, right? Even national law universities do offer specialized diplomas in cyber law. So you can opt for the same. You will get all the material at home. You only have to appear for the exam, and you get a certificate that you have cleared the cyber law diploma or even a PG diploma for that matter. And that will definitely a valuable addition into your CV, right? Yes, the question is on media law. So Ishan sir or Naveen sir, any one of you would like to address that?
What was the question?
Question was, if I am willing to pursue a career in the field of media law, what is my exact, what will be my exact job?
Roadmap.
Nature of my job, yes.
Okay. So I would say that your roadmap, you should see, if you want to pursue any career in any field, first you should prepare a roadmap. Roadmap should be starting from your law school to the time after your 3-4 years after the graduation. So during the law school, I would suggest you that you should write a lot of legal research papers. Day to day, you should start writing about day-to-day orders. You should start researching. Very foremost important thing to be in media or media law is research work. You should be very good with research work. So you should enhance your skills. Research work, legal writing, and content writing. All these are things that you should work on during your student life, and then you should join some media, because media houses are having their own panels of lawyers. I know few media houses, they are having their own panel of lawyers who hire a lot of juniors as a fresher. So, but see, media law is a kind. I see. If you are going for the media law, do not expect a good amount of money in your initial years. media law is going to pay you after 3-4 years of experience, and this is what I believe that this is good. It is money comes, or money always come with the experience in law. So okay, you should join a media panel house. You should join an advocate who is dealing with the censorship act, dealing with cinematography and such act. So that is all. Legal journalism. You should start the live law, and bar and bench are giving a lot of opportunities to students these days. Even law students, these are giving law, even because I think there will be a lot of upcoming such. There are also a lot of upcoming apps like this who are giving a lot of opportunities in legal journalism. So legal journalism is another option. You can go and join live law. Live law provides internship as well. You can go there. Just make a roadmap. Internship to the job.
A last question, which we can take up now as the time is coming to an end. What is hospitality law? Basically, hospitality law is a wider term used for laws which encompass all the legal and social practices which are associated with a friendly gesture towards your guest and in ensuring hospitality towards the person, right? For example, you have a lot of business delegates visiting your company or visiting your country for that matter, right? So hospitality law basically takes care of all such aspects of the guest so that the guest gets a proper treatment and he is protected, prevented from any kind of injury, which could be of any form, right? It could be physical injury, mental injury, or even injury in the form of contracts that they're entering into. All such things have been taken care of in the field of hospitality. And nowadays, with the growth of services in different fields, like you have food sector, you have healthcare sector, which is opening for the whole world, right? You have medical tourism, you have food tourism, you have agro tourism, right? You have eco tourism for that matter. With this, hospitality law is going to have a very bright future, right? So, person who are specialized in the hospitality law would be taking care of all such aspects. And mind you, for that you need a basic foundation of the law, and then you can pursue a career in the hospitality law. Anything both of you would like to add? Okay, so I hope the questions we're done with the question.